I've known Henry for a long time, and when I heard what he was doing, trying to get Denmark Street put on the map really for the general public, I was really interested. I mean, it's the birthplace of my industry, really. It's where it all started, you know. And I suppose, I mean, I've earned my living from that industry, and so I really felt that I'd like to help with that film, and support it and sponsor it.
Henry, perhaps you were concerned about losing something. Was that where you came in?
Very much so, because the film grew out of the campaign to save Denmark Street, which we set up in 2014. And you could see that there was a popular view that maybe music had already gone from Denmark Street, and it was just a street of guitar shops. But in fact, it was a street of artisans who lived above, behind and below. And it was a diversity of publishers, guitar makers, a small recording studio at 21, 22, and a great music venue and rehearsal spaces. And they all interacted, they were all in and out of one another's doors. And I thought we must capture these people and some of the people who'd already gone from previous decades and get them to tell this great story about London's only music street. In fact, the only music street of its kind in the world.
Yeah, I know that for much of this it is about speaking to those who are there or who were there, but just give us some of the celebrity background to it, just to fill in the gaps, because this started many people's careers.
Well, you could go right back to the Second World War. We got Dame Vera Lynn. Dame Vera Lynn used to go there to buy her songs. So she would go up and talk to the music publishers who'd acquired songs. Some of them were American songs. Some of them, like Lily Marlene, had British lyrics, a famous German song. And Tommy Connor wrote the lyrics for her, for Dame Vera Lynn, so she'd go there during the Second World War. British rock and roll started there. And, you know, you had Shaken All Over, Johnny Kidd and the Pirates. And then right through to the 60s, Elton John had his first job as a tea-boy there.
Right.
And what was amazing was we managed to find the guy who employed him, who's in his 90s, who'd remembered Elton when he was a teenager. So he was still talking about Elton like he was a bit of a naughty little boy.
Yeah. Peter, do you kind of feel a sense of loss? That network that we've mentioned, it has changed, it has moved on.
Yes.
With such a strong connection to this area, do you feel a sense of loss?
I do, really. It's part of our heritage, it's part of our country's story, really. Music, I think, has always been, its heritage has always been sort of underfunded, has always been sort of, in a lot of studios in London now have all closed. It's a shame. In the United States, they often turn those studios into museums or make it a visitor attraction, and we've lost a lot of those in London. And Denmark Street is one of those it's still there, and we just feel that it's good to bring people's attention to it, so that hopefully the public recognise its significance in our history of music, and don't allow it to disappear. I mean, obviously it's evolved a huge amount since it first started, but I mean, you know, as Henry says, you know, Elton was working at Mel's Music there in the 60s. A lot of fantastic recordings were made in Regent Sound Studios. You know, it was a great meeting place. You know, David Bowie went there, didn't they? I believe.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, and also all around that area. You know, you had Cat Stevens living with his parents just around the corner. You know, it was just a fantastic hub. And so this film really does share, I think, the whole story of how it came to be and where it is now. And you know, it's a fantastic, not a historical document, but a storytelling the history of that street.